Hi everyone, I'm Barry Stagner and this is his channel Newsbreak. The United States is looking at additional sanctions to step up the pressure on the Venezuelan government, the U.S. Special Envoy for the country said on Monday, after Venezuela's ruling Socialist Party moved forcefully to install a new head of Congress. Special Envoy Elliott Abrams spoke to the reporters at the U.S. State Department a day after armed troops blocked Venezuelan opposition legislators, including their leader, Juan Guaido, from entering parliament. We are looking at additional sanctions, personal sanctions, economic sanctions that we think will bring more pressure yet on the regime, Abrams said. In addition, he said the U.S. Congress had allocated a fair amount of money to help the democratic opposition in Venezuela, and we will be thinking of ways to use those funds and to try to get other countries to give support. He said the U.S. would also try to get other countries to provide support for the opposition because of the recent riots and the shields that were blocking Guaido from entering parliament this past week for what was expected to be his re-election as the head of the Congress. Opposition leaders quickly re-elected Guaido, who is recognized by dozens as the nation's rightful leader, in a session at the headquarters of a pro-opposition newspaper. This was quoted. Mexicans seeking asylum in the United States could be sent to Guatemala under a bilateral agreement signed by the Central American nation last year, according to documents sent to U.S. asylum offices in recent days and seen by Reuters. In a January 4th email, field staff at the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services were told that Mexican nationals will be included in the populations amenable to the agreement with Guatemala. The agreement brokered last July between the administration of Republican President Donald Trump and the outgoing Guatemalan government allows U.S. immigration officials to send migrants requesting asylum at the U.S.-Mexican border to apply for protection in Guatemala instead. Trump has made clamping down on unlawful migration a top priority of his presidency and a major theme of his 2020 re-election campaign. His administration penned similar deals with Honduras and El Salvador last year. Democrats and pro-migrant groups have opposed the move and contend asylum seekers will face danger in Guatemala, where the murder rate is 5 times that of the United States, according to 2017 data compiled by the World Bank. The country's asylum office is tiny and thinly staffed, and critics have argued it lacks the capacity to properly vet a significant increase in cases. And Guatemalan President-elect Alejandro Giammattei, who takes office this month, has said he will review the agreement. German Chancellor Angela Merkel will travel to Moscow on Saturday to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin amid growing tensions in the Middle East and elsewhere, officials said on Monday. Merkel and Putin will discuss current international questions, said Steffen Seibert, the Chancellor's spokesman. Those will include Syria, Libya, Iran, Iraq, Ukraine, and bilateral ties. Russia is an important layer on the world stage, and as a permanent member of the UN Security Council, it's also indispensable when it comes to solving political conflicts, Seibert said. Germany is currently a non-permanent member of the Security Council. Germany and Russia are among the world powers that have been trying to salvage the 2015 nuclear deal with Iran after the U.S. withdrew from the agreement unilaterally in 2018. Well, we also know in the last days there's going to be instability at the highest level of governments around the world, opening the door for the man of sin to rise to power and dominate the whole of the world. This gives us today's reminder to keep looking up.